Good afternoon and welcome to this exciting symposium, leveraging innovations to end the HIV pandemic. I'm so sorry I can't be with you in person. I have another commitment at exactly the same time. I look forward to seeing all of you at AIDS 2024 in Munich. I've been asked to speak on 30 years of innovation and the current success of antiretroviral therapy. And I think that everyone in this room is well aware of the enormous successes we've had moving over the last 30 years from taking a handful of tablets with many adverse side effects to a single tablet a day, co-formulation of just 2 antiretrovirals. And of course, now we are in the era of long-acting antiretroviral therapy, which we'll hear a lot about at this symposium. This is a brief history. It's slides courtesy of Linda Gao-Becker showing the key dates for discovery of antiretrovirals dating back to 1987 with the first discovery of AZT and extending across multiple new classes of drugs, and now the era of long-acting antiretrovirals. I like this classification that was published in The Lancet a few years ago of 3 distinct eras of antiretroviral therapy, starting with an era of devastation, taking us from 1980 to 1995, the era of discovery and action from 1995 to 2010, and over the last 14 years, the possibility of ending AIDS. At the same time, there's been a dramatic change in policy, starting with the concept of hitting early, hitting hard, but limited access to treatment in low and middle income countries, and this approach being significantly hampered by poor treatments. This rapidly changed, of course, to the WHO then recommending initiation of antiretroviral therapy in those with CD4 counts less than 200, less than 350, less than 500. In 2015, antiretroviral therapy recommended for all. These eras nicely parallel the different classes of antiretrovirals that have been available, initially starting with the protease inhibitor era, rapidly changing to non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, which allowed global access, and now the integrase inhibitor era. And I think at this meeting in Munich at AIDS 2024, we are in a new era, 2024 and beyond, an era of test and treat, same-day ART, long-acting injectables for both treatment and prevention, and of course, still the goal of ART-free viral control or a cure, which we're now becoming very well aware is indeed possible. Tomorrow, at the co-chair's late breaker session, we'll be hearing the extraordinary results of lenacapavir given 6 monthly for prevention of HIV, presented by Linda Gao-Becker. And I do think this is really a complete game changer. However, it's important to remember that we are not on track for the UNAIDS 2025 targets. Just this morning, UNAIDS announced their data from the last year. They announced that in 2023, there were 1.3 million new infections, way off our targets for 2025, shown here as the yellow dot. 630,000 AIDS-related deaths, and again, way off our targets for 2025. And although 30.7 million people are accessing ART globally, which is 77% of adults, access is lower for men than women, and only 57% of children, or those under the age of 15 years of age, are accessing antiretroviral therapy. So we have a long way to go in implementing what we know works. So what's still needed? Well, global access is probably one of the most important challenges for long-acting antiretroviral therapy. There's a lot of work being done on access to long-acting cabotegravir, and this slide, kindly provided to me by the Medicines Patent Pool, shows that now 90 countries listed have access to will have access to generic forms of long-acting cabotegravir, which includes all low-income countries, all lower middle-income countries, all sub-Saharan African countries, and all least developed countries. There are several countries shown here in bright green that appear not to have patents on CAB-LA, and where generic supply may be possible. But we have a ton of work still to get this drug into many countries and allow uptake, given the complexity of administering CAB-LA. We do need new models for care. At the IES, we've put a lot of effort into promoting the concept of differentiated service delivery, a client-centred approach that simplifies and adapts HIV services across the cascade to better serve the needs of people living with HIV. We do need to move away from a traditional centralised hospital model, which is far from ideal for both treatment and prevention. And in order to reach 90-90-90 and ultimately 95-95-95, these biomedical developments need to be delivered in a community-based facility, one that's integrated, co-located, embracing the latest technology, ensures there's task shifting and task sharing, it's rights-based, multi-sectoral and comprehensive. To do this, stigma absolutely has to be eliminated. These data come from the UNAIDS population-based survey from 2014 to 2019 and show the percentage of people aged 15 to 49 who report discriminatory attitudes. And you can see here that the rates are high. And when you dig deeper to look at discriminatory attitudes in healthcare facilities, you have some countries that are doing quite well, such as Malawi. 1.7% of people living with HIV denied services because of their HIV status, 1.7% too many. But then in other countries, such as Tajikistan, 21% of people experiencing denial of HIV services because of their status. So this is an absolute major barrier to delivery of treatment and prevention. I want to end by saying innovation has to continue. We can't be complacent. We will and continue to see new formulations for delivery of antiretrovirals, implants or better injectables that will reduce the frequency of administration to 6 or 12 months or perhaps longer. And we need to keep working on new modalities. Antibodies are looking promising for treatment, prevention and cure. And one day we may see gene therapy, a critical component of cure strategies, being investigated to ultimately achieve an ART-free viral control, or what we could refer to as remission or cure. But to do this, global access, patient-centred care, elimination of stigma, and an increase in funding must be prioritised to ensure that all these innovations get to everyone and no one is left behind. Have a great symposium, and I look forward to seeing you in Munich.